Break open a string bean, which you don't have to do to eat. These are sometimes known as white kidney beans, though they usually show some yellow discoloration. Beans and peas and lentils. In the Depression years of the 30s, in this country, hobos were always depicted sitting along the railroad tracks, eating beans out of cans. This image nearly sums up the modern American status of this ancient product. Anything of the lowest value isn't even worth a hill of you-know-whats. The picture's entirely different in Europe and in Asia, where beans play a leading role in some of those continents' leading dishes. But the irony is this: almost all of the beans used in those dishes across the oceans are native to the New World. Among the great beans used in Europe and Asia today, only the fava bean, the chickpea, the black-eyed pea, the adzuki bean, and the soybean have non-American roots. So what is a bean anyway? The same thing botanically as a pea and a lentil. All three are the seeds of vegetables that have pods. These seeds, beans, peas, and lentils, are collectively known as legumes or pulses. Break open a pea pod, and those round things inside are legumes. Break open a string bean, which you don't have to do to eat, and those little light-colored things inside are legumes as well. In fact, those little light-colored things in the string beans, if allowed to grow, would become kidney beans. After drying, they would become dried kidney beans. Serious cooks can use these legumes fresh and dried. Canned and frozen beans are usually eschewed. Fresh peas, sold in their fresh green pods, are the fresh legume that's most commonly available. Fresh beans are available inside ordinary string beans, but they're tiny and negligible. In some seasons, fresh bean pods, like those of cranberry beans, do contain large, fresh, scarlet-blotched, usable beans. The last of the legumes, lentils, are rarely seen in fresh form. This chapter and our kitchen doesn't focus on fresh legumes, for we believe that fresh beans, peas, and lentils usually become even more interesting after they're dried. The Europeans seem to agree, because most of their classic bean dishes are based on dried beans, and billions of home chefs around the world seem to agree, at least on the grounds of convenience, because dried beans, peas, and lentils have become major international pantry items. Well, the good news is this: American households have finally emerged from their anti-bean prejudice, and today we join the world in prizing dried legumes. This has led to more good news. The interest in dried legumes among American consumers has created a massive increase in imports and availability, resulting in a dizzying variety of dried bean, pea, and lentil types on the American grocery shelves today. We are proud to have pioneered in this country many of the currently available types, and here are some of the leading dry legumes available today in American markets and specialty shops, because beans dominate the category with scores of old heirloom varieties that have been resuscitated by farmers. Dried beans make up most of the following entries, with a few dried peas. Dried lentils will be described in a single entry. Many of the dried beans on the market can be substituted for one another in various recipes. The most important thing when substituting is to find a bean approximately the same size. Therefore, we have noted those beans that are interchangeable with similar beans by placing a note after the entry, and have described each of those beans as small, medium, or large. If no symbol appears, the dried bean is not interchangeable. Names in English vary, including aduki and azuki, but because they are all translations from Japanese. These are small maroon-colored beans with a white racing stripe. Azuki are sweet, nutty, and non-mealy. They are used mainly in Japan as a paste for desserts, but are also delicious whole in salads. Azuki have thick skins and require long soaking and cooking. Appaloosa. This is a new hybrid of the pinto bean, medium-sized, long and narrow. One end is white, the other very dark, with tan veins. Named for the Appaloosa horse, which, like the beans, hails from the Palouse, a legume growing region of western Washington and western Idaho. They are fairly neutral in flavor and well suited to strong seasonings. Black beans. These are small beans, sometimes called turtle beans. They're actually very dark purple rather than black, as the cooking liquid will show. Black beans have a distinctive, earthy flavor and are much appreciated in Latin American cuisines. They marry well with garlic, cilantro, smoked meats, and acidic ingredients, and are a classic bean for soup and other Brazilian dishes. They're also good when tossed with a salsa to make a black bean salad. Black-eyed peas. One of the few beans with non-American roots, black-eyed peas are thought to have originated in ancient China. They are medium-sized, dull white beans with a purple-black spot. They have a thin skin and cook rather quickly. The flavor is subtle, slightly sweet, and the texture is a little mealy. Black-eyed peas are used widely today in Africa, India, and the American South. They are good for soaking up meat juices, especially pork. Calypso. The calypso is a round, medium-sized bean with both black and white markings. Its earthy flavor is particularly good in hearty, slow-cooked soups. The calypso is also good for meat and bean stews like cassoulet. Cannellini. These are sometimes known as white kidney beans, though they usually show some yellow discoloration. Their mild flavor makes them extremely versatile. White kidney beans are very popular in Italy, where the red kidney bean is used much less frequently. Cannellini are most often cooked in Mediterranean fashion with herbs, olive oil, garlic, and tomatoes. Chickpeas. Chickpeas are among our very favorite dried beans. They are one of the few beans not native to the Americas, having first been used about 7,000 years ago in the Middle East. Chickpeas are medium-sized, light brown, round beans, crinkled when dry. With a fairly thick, removable skin. There are a number of Middle Eastern classics based on pureed chickpeas like hummus and falafel, but their nutty flavor is also widely valued in French, Spanish, and Italian soups. They are also terrific in meat stews, perfectly partnering chicken, sausages, and pork. Their ability to hold their shape after long cooking makes them particularly suitable for soups and stews. China yellow. These pale yellow beans are small, plump, and roundish. Their color fades when cooked. With a buttery smooth texture and rich flavor, they are excellent for purees. China yellow beans are good with saffron and other strong flavors, and they're not from China at all. Corona. This is a commercial name for a very large, very firm, and very flavorful white bean that comes entirely from Italy. The name is used by a company called Tartufferia in Weehawken, New Jersey. The Corona is a fabulous bean. Even after soaking it overnight, it simmers for 2 to 3 hours before it has softened up. If you can find it, your cassoulet is made.